All right, it's Mom, and welcome to Sisters Standing on Law. This is your host, Anita L., along with my co-host, Mariah Beck.
Islam.
Islam.
Yeah.
You said something?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
All right, it's better now. Okay. Good afternoon to everyone.
Yes, I can hear you.
All right. I want to make sure my
All right.
level's okay. All right.
Yeah.
How are you today?
Yes, we are here today for another installation of Sisters Standing on Law. Now, as you know, Sisters Standing on Law is geared towards the sisters, but we do not leave out the sons. Today's subject matter it's going to be a rough ride. It may be. Let me put it that way. It may be a little bit of a rough ride for all who listen. However, I'm going to implore you to listen and listen well and, try very hard to detach yourself from your feelings and emotions, because I got to tell you, many of us function from feelings and emotions. We don't generally usually function from a place of logic and science. Now, some people might say, oh, that's because you're a human being. I disagree. I think that we're lacking a lot of information, and, we've been mentally conditioned to be emotional creatures, because if you're functioning from emotion and feeling, you're probably not going to make a decision that's within the best interest of yourself and the nation. And he's speaking, that's just, that's just the psychology of the human psyche. If you're functioning from the perspective of emotions and feelings, you're more than likely not going to make a decision that's in your best interest. And we have been mentally conditioned to function that way. On top of that, we've been given a lot of misinformation. This misinformation has been given to us for one reason and one reason only. That is to protect us from uniting as a family. That's it. Nothing else. Some people might want to attach commerce to the issue. No. That's not how this whole thing kicked off eons ago, when Federal Reserve notes wasn't even a thought in the psyche of man. This thing kicked off because it was clear, and it continues to this day to be a mechanism to keep mother and son fighting. Because as long as mother and son is fighting, there will be no unity. And the only way, right? And the way to keep the fighting going is with misinformation. So today's Sister Standing on Law is entitled, "And the Truth Will Set You Free." Today, many, and that's conservative, I would venture to say every last one of us, suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder. Now, this post-traumatic distress disorder just recently came to my attention because my younger brother is suffering from that. But we suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder as a result of misinformation.
Mm-hmm.
Mother, you must wake up in order to correct this, as you are the first school, and within your womb is the nation. So what the heck are you waiting for?
Mm-hmm.
In order for nationality to truly be realized, all must know that your lineal descent bloodline, not a surname or a family appellation, determines your nationality. That was something else that I realized. Because when my father was going through the loss of his wife and then my mother, but more so my father, I had the opportunity to sit down with my father and ask him about his mother. And I found out that she had 16 children. 16.
Wow. Not
I believe
uncommon.
16. One of them, two of the 16 was twins. One of them had, it didn't survive. It died, I think, either during childbirth or shortly thereafter. So she had 15 live births and 16 pregnancies. I think it was like that.
15 pregnancies because the one was twins.
Right. So now, 7. I'm trying to do the math right. I drew this out, and I wish I could find that paper that I drew this out on, because 5 of my 7. No, yeah, 7. Yes, 7. 8 of the children were boys. Now, boys don't have babies, so the bloodline can't be coming from them. It has to come from a woman. It's so imperative that we comprehend that the bloodline comes from the mother. That's why nationality comes from the mother. But I drew out all of these children that my father's mother had, and 8 of them were guys. 7 of them were female. 7. One of the females never had any children, so my father's mother's line is not continuing through that daughter. One daughter, it was amazing. Second daughter had one child, but that one child had no children. So the bloodline is not going to continue through that one. The third daughter had a daughter and a son, but the daughter ended up passing. The son survived, but we know that the bloodline doesn't go through the son. Then, okay, let me change the thing. The next daughter, I think this is the 4th daughter. The 4th daughter had, and I didn't know many of these as many children that my father's mother had. I didn't know all 15 of them, but I know a few of them. So the 4th daughter, she had 4 daughters, no son. Of those 4 daughters, one daughter has one son, another daughter has no children, another daughter has one daughter, so the bloodline for the grandmother will continue through her. Then the last daughter, she has, I can't remember, I know of at least 3 daughters and maybe 3 or 4 sons. So that line will continue. And then I continue this through to the remaining siblings of my father. And when I looked at it, started wondering, I started thinking to myself, we're not thinking in terms of bloodline. And that came to me because once again, my father went, my father went to visit my brother, and there was a little European boy down there, and my father looks at this little European child that's not a blood relative by any means and says, wow, they look like the dog. Father's surname. And I'm thinking, what does a surname have to do with the family lineage? And then it dawned on me, everybody is trying to pass on a name, not the bloodline, a name. Right? So then I want to research my mother's family. Now, my grandmother on my mother's side, because when I look at this, I realize if I look at this thing just from bloodline, I am my mother's daughter. I am my mother's daughter. I am my grandmother's daughter. I am my great-grandmother's daughter, but I have no blood from my father because this ain't about the bloodline. When it comes to my so-called father, that's simply about a name. It made me think, while my father was going through his medical challenges, my younger brother came to take care of him. My younger brother has post-traumatic stress disorder. In my younger brother is this great desire to be seen by my so-called father. And as a result of my father's inability to see my younger brother, it kicked off his post-traumatic stress disorder. And he was flipping out. Stress was overwhelming him. It made me realize that this whole biology alleged this false information of a mother and a father, and the father being the son, was creating a great psychological injury to the psyche of the mother, the so-called son, and the child. This is a lesson that's been going on here for me for 2 years. It was a lesson, but it was more of a open your eyes and just look, Anna-E. And so that's what I did. So I ended up watching this series called Nashville, which really was convoluted, appalling, and it absolutely demonstrated this whole system of pitting mother and son together is absolutely live and well and in effect. Because in this series, it had this modern European daughter. She was engaged to this guy that she really loves, but we all carry around this emotional baggage. He was neglecting her. She gets super dressed up and goes out on the town. And she gets flipping drunk and ends up sleeping with the president of the recording company, the record label, who she can't stand. Couple weeks go by, 4 to 6 weeks go by, she realizes she's pregnant. This is the craziness. This is absolute psychological damage right here. Because her resolution initially was to have an abortion. And what really and truly distressed me is how deep this misinformation goes. Because that is her egg. That's her egg. Story of who, what came first, the chicken or the egg? Doesn't matter because they're both female. Because the the life comes from an egg. When everybody went to the so-called sex education class, females, this is part why they kept the females and the males separate for a long time. They might be doing that together now, but for a long time it was separate. And in the class that I was in, there was no guys in there. It was just girls. And it is in that class that the teacher said, every month, science supports this, every month, a female is come from either the left or the right. It alternates from the female. An egg is going to come out of the ovary either on the left this month, or the egg is going to come out of the ovary either on the right the following month, and it alternates. The point here is an egg is released. An egg is released. So we go back to our story of Nashville, and this European daughter gets pregnant. She sleeps, has sex with two guys, and thinks that, oh my God, I got to kill my egg because it might be the guy I can't stand, baby. How the hell can that be possible? Can't be possible. It's her egg. But she eventually decides that she's just going to have it and she's going to give it up for adoption. So she says to her manager, I need you to find me a reputable private adoption agency because she's going to carry baby, have it, and then give her egg away to a complete stranger. This is psychological damage right here. This is where it gets even crazier because this movie is called Nashville. It's based in the corporate, near the Nashville Corporation. Her manager comes back to her and says, we have a problem. She says, well, what's the problem? He said, you cannot give the baby up for adoption first notifying the so-called father. So she said, what if I don't know who the father is? The corporation will then go on a manhunt to find out who you slept with so that they could notify the so-called father. I was floored when I heard this. I happened to be mentioning this to someone who lives near the Tennessee Corporation, and they confirmed that that is absolutely correct. So now, before you get into your feelings and emotions behind this, I want you to please step back, and look at this objectively. Nashville is a municipal corporation. What would be the reason for employees of a corporation to put out an all-points bulletin to find who they are alleging to be the so-called baby daddy? What would be the reason? This woman is financially stable. She can take care of this child without the input of a son. So it can't be that, oh, we want to make sure the child is well taken care of. I mean, she eventually decides to keep the child, but only after she goes for an ultrasound, because before they could do an abortion, before they can do any kind of abortion, this is when she was thinking of doing the abortion thing, they have to determine how many months you are. Come to find out, the baby the fetus growth and dimension was greater than the time span that she had any sort of intercourse with this guy she can't stand. So she then deduced that, oh, it must be her fiance's child. It's not the fiance's child, and it's not the guy she can't stand child. It's her egg. But she was ready to murder it or give it away to a complete stranger based off of misinformation.
Mm-hmm.
Misinformation. In the same story, in the same show, there's another story where this woman gets pregnant at maybe 16, 17, and she's married to this guy that she loves. They're soulmates, but he is a drop-dead drunk. So she realizes as much as she loves this man, she cannot bring her child into a relationship with a man who cannot stop drinking. So she marries another guy who knows that she's not pregnant for his so-called child, and agrees that he's going to raise the child, raise her egg that she's saying is another guy's child as this guy's child. And they're not going to tell her. But this girl grows up and finds out. Now, they got to tell the whole story, and the both so-called baby daddies are aware of each other, can't stand each other, and both have power and political influence. And these two guys is fighting over who's going to have the sole attention of the child. Because now it's a fight for the attention of the child, and there's two people there now. So the mother is caught in this situation where the daughter is mad at her for not telling her, and then she got these two guys. One is mad that he never told, and the other one is trying to keep his position as the attention getter of the daughter. And then she got the daughter who's pissy mad at her for withholding this information. You got four people who have now been psychologically damaged, all based on misinformation. Misinformation. And it goes very, very deep. All of us are psychologically damaged because you got sons who think that her egg is their semen. Mm-hmm. And this is supported because here's what you're not saying. What you're not saying, but the actions are supporting this, is that you believe, not you listening, but this is the theory that is being pushed and supported for one reason and one reason only, to keep mother and son fighting each other. The theory is that the child was in the son's testicles, and through sex, intercourse, he passed the baby to her for her to hold in the womb and grow it and then birth it. Theory and analogy that everybody is promoting. And
Can I interject real quick? You just said the theory is, and what they believe is, that the child came out of the testicles, passed through, and placed into the womb. So let me just say this, and then you move on. During the 9 months from conception to birth, the child is in its creator's womb, namely mother, has passed through the 9 cosmic regions or signs of the earth in harmony with the sun, from which it molds its physical form, mind, memory, and characteristics qualified for cultivation as it slowly grows up during life. Okay, I just wanted to interject that. Go ahead.
Yes. Well, so now this is supported, and that is why the municipal corporations around Tennessee and across the nation will do an all-points bulletin trying to find the daddy because the presumption is that's your property, son. You just gave it to her to hold on to. And if you look back at history, once the modern Europeans interjected their, efforts into our culture, customs, and culture and customs, what you will find, and you ain't got to go back too far, is if the woman had a girl, because everybody thinks the baby comes from the son. So this is why everybody wants a son, because they think the baby comes from the son's testicles. But if you have a daughter, you're of no use, no good, and, like Henry VIII, you couldn't give me a son, so I'm going to chop your head off. How dare you give me these children? But, hey, why are you blaming me? Didn't you give me the child? How about you gave me the child? So this was your focus. You gave me the child, but you're going to make me responsible for the gender of the child. But the child didn't come from me, supposedly. Right? So now, this is just another way of attacking mother. So now, the other side, the flip side to that is if you did by chance have a son, the son was immediately removed from the mother by the father because it ain't her property, it's his. Mother didn't have no exchange with the child, couldn't even breastfeed the child because it ain't your property. Came from the son's testicles, and it's his property, and when the son was born, the son took him, property came from his testicles. This is the unspoken theory that everybody is acting on. And mother is taking the hit for. Now, you might think I'm tearing up the son with this analogy, but let me bring mother's part into it in today's language, today's terms, today's actions and activities, because mother so absolutely believes that that's his property, came from his testicle. I was just holding it for you. Right? She
full advantage of that.
If she wants to get back at the son, right, she will injure the child. She might not feed his child. She might not clothe his child. She might physically injure his child. And then this is where she feels absolutely justified to ask him, you better give me some Federal Reserve notes so I can take care of your property. If I got to hold on to it, if I got to put a roof over the head and food in the mouth and clothes on the back, if I got to do all of this to what came out of your testicles, I better be compensated. I'm the babysitter. This is what is happening. And because mothers have been mentally conditioned, literally psychologically damaged to believe that false biology, they have no problem injuring their egg. No problem injuring their egg. That's
so it
why
has been done.
Yes.
I said, and so it has been done. Go ahead.
That's correct. That's correct. This is a grave psychological damage. And it goes over being. And it's almost irreparable. And that's why it has continued. This grave misinformation has continued to this day, to the point where they have set up child support. And they go to grab the son. Look, boy, Don't you know this girl over here got your property? How come you ain't taking care of it? Well, we going to garnish your wages.
Yes.
That's your property. Came out of your testicles. So we don't, and if you don't take care of it, that's an ethical issue, and we're going to kidnap your behind and throw you in prison because you should know better. Misinformation. That's her egg all day long, every day. Science supports that. Somebody, if I am wrong, show me where in science does it support semen being a baby.
Or the bloodline, because there, can you also say at this point that when the semen, which really offers a spark of electricity that jolts the egg into, doesn't even have, it needs that spark, but nowhere in it, in the semen, is there blood exchange. This needs to be said like 3 times. Nowhere in that semen reaching the egg is there blood exchange. Nowhere in that exchange or that interaction is there blood exchange. And go back to the fact that this is why family is about bloodline. Nationality is determined by your mother. And that is supported in all national and international, including nature's law and common law, period. This what you're talking about right now. It's some new stuff that they're bringing in because of you, this mother's not knowing that, period.
That's right. That's right. and let's look at this now, because look, if we go back far enough in history, we can find this, we can substantiate it, we can see where the transition from matriarchy to patriarchy took place. I remember Valerie talking about it.
Oh yes, she did a heck of, may I say, it was a 1-part, and I remember 2-part class, and man, it was called Woman, and she was breaking it down. I was in one of those classes. I have the notes from it. Yeah, it was awesome. So go ahead.
It was a mind blower, even for me. Let me tell you, but we have to receive this information, because without this information, modern Europeans are using this misinformation to create generations now and tomorrow who have been psychologically damaged. And if you've been psychologically damaged, only thing that you can be is a revenue generator. And that's the whole reason. That's the whole reason to damage the psyche of a divine being. Now, if we go back to Pocahontas, let's look at Pocahontas, all right? Now, if the egg was not the priority, not the baby, then John Smith should have been chasing. They should have sent Jane Smith to find herself a male Pocahontas. You see you get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. The reason John Smith went after Pocahontas is because she was female.
The bloodline.
She's bloodline. She's the heir, and she, in her womb, is humanity. Just like the prophet says on the front of the 101. In her womb is humanity. I'm going to say it again. In her womb is in her womb is humanity. Look at the front of the 101. Look at the front of the 101. Now, Prophet Noble Ali is a brilliant son. Everything was right and correct. I have not to this day read anything that Prophet Noble Ali wrote that was in any way incorrect or even had a hint of incorrectness. So I'm thinking, if humanity was in the son's testicle, then on the front of the 101, it shouldn't be humanity written on her womb. It should be humanity written in his groin area, if that's true biology, and throw her away because she's of no use. That's the reality of what is being interpreted here and what is damaging our family. I'm going to say it again right now. Please comprehend what it is I'm saying. I'm not trying to smear the son. I'm not trying to smear the mothers. I'm just trying to get you to think how we are perpetuating psychological damages now and in the future because of this misinformation regarding biology. And because of this misinformation, we are destroying the next generation even before it gets here. Of the situation. This is not about your emotions. This is not about your feelings. This is about science. And if you're going to call yourself a Moor, then you got to know what comes with that is the absolute knowledge of law and the absolute knowledge of science. Not your feelings, not your emotions. This is some deep, deep, deep information. And as much as we are reluctant to talk about it, we got to. We have to. Because this is for the young and the yet unborn. And it is on mother. It is on mother. It is on mother. It is on mother to get the truth about biology so she can embrace her child instead of using it as a tool to get back at the son. She's also supposed to be protecting because he's a child as well. It is all on mother. Yes, and you know, we got sons, they always, ever since I came into this information in 2008, I have not stopped hearing sons blaming mother. Well, you know, we like this because of her. We like this because of her. I have been walking into the class and walking out of the class, and I have heard sons say, well, we like this because of her. It's because of her. It's because of her. It's because of her. It is because of her, and that's why her got to fix it.
Ooh, Lord,
and that means, sisters, y'all better get up off your behind. Because, look, we are in the midst of a great change. Prophet Nova Julie talked about looking at the signs and the symbols. We've had tsunamis, we've had hurricanes, we've had earthquakes. You know, the only thing left to happen now is the tornadoes, and this is, I don't remember when tornado time is, but look.
This is the season.
This is the season for tornadoes, all right. And then there is also the prophecy that the South is going to really disappear. There's going to be a serious shift. The Canary Islands are going to drop into the ocean, causing a great tsunami that's going to take out half of North America. That's not even the half of it. The sun is moving closer to planet Earth. That means it's heating up, and every summer you can feel that the rays of the sun are stronger. Now, we all sit here and we think, oh, yeah, you know, because them modern Europeans, they got to go. They got to go, and the sun and the universe and everything is going to take them out. Yes, that's correct. But the sun and the universe is also going to take out those people who do not let go of false information and begin to heal themselves. Because in healing themselves, you're going to create an energy that will help others recognize that they need to heal themselves as well. Because in order for you to recover from a psychological damage, you have to heal yourself. You have to heal yourself. You have to heal yourself. Nobody can heal you but you. That means that you got to learn to love yourself. And there's a lot of people running around here thinking they love themselves, but they don't. Because if you can injure somebody else in any way, shape, form, or fashion, that means that you are not loving yourself. And you're externalizing your internal pain. This is not just for sons. This is for mothers. And both mother and son, this speaks to the future, the young and the yet we have got to stop allowing ourselves to be manipulated by foreigners. The prophet came to bring us the truth. All right? Now, the truth, you may not like it, but you need to receive it. Because if you don't, you will go the way of the foreigners also. Because this is cleanup time. So you might not like what I'm saying, and that's all right. Listen to what I'm saying and research it scientifically, not based on your feelings and emotions. Hey, Rob, is it all right if I read from my book?
Oh, I do believe that it is all right. And because let me just presage, and we're going to go back to this again with CMBey. Let me just say this. If women on national scale possess the applied knowledge of the secrets of the number 9, that means the secrets of the womb, all right, they would be supremely qualified to educate their children to the practical side of life during its 9-month maturity from conception to birth. Then there would be no need. There would be no need. There would be no need for the institutions of religious mystery worship, idol or image gods. There would be no need for jailhouses, for prisons, and insane institutions would not be needed, for there would be no racial hatred or crime. So why did he say that? Dealing with what? The science. Presage that there, we can finish reading the rest of that portion, which is in Clock of Destiny 1. I don't have the page, but I'll get the page later. So with that being said, dealing with the science. Go ahead.
All right. Now let's look at this science. Years ago, before I even found this information, and I just happened to have the order form in front of me, 2005. Now, I ran into this information in 2008. But like I have said on numerous occasions, I didn't just start reading and studying. I've been studying my entire life. So I read these. I found this author. His appellation is Hilton Hotima. Hilton Hotima. And there's a book entitled Virgin Birth. Now, before I say that, I remember, and I don't know which book I read it in, I remember reading how over in, I want to say what they call Italy. It's documented. It ain't even a secret. They might be covering it up now, but many women have children and are virgins. Not a secret. All right? So this is not Anna Eve making some crap, making up some stuff. This is documented. You know where the first documentation took place? Biblioteca. Mary.
Now, let me just say this. The reason we're giving this is not to say that we're excluding, because we got to make these qualifiers, because this is where people get it all wrong. We are giving you science. We're not saying that, listen, sisters, you don't need the sons and get rid of them. That is not what we're saying this for. We're getting you to the science of this so that you can better, I trust, receive that nationality is in the bloodline. It is your child, period, and the condition of the mother. And that means a condition with who she is, how she is, her mental stability or instability, her characteristics, and all that she imprints and teaches to the child. Starting in the womb is what determines the condition of the child. So we're not saying it because people get it wrong all the time. Oh, you're saying it because you want to eliminate the son. No, we're trying to get the mother back to. That's not what we're saying. Back to who she is and where the children come from. And that. Now, remember on our show the other day, we said we are telling you that nationality is not based in commerce. Nationality is in bloodline. This is what this is telling you about now. If we fallen far from science, if we fallen far from conscience, which conscience, C-O-N means with, and science is science. If we have come away from conscience, which means being with science, then, help bring us back to that. So the reason that we're saying this is not because we're saying go have babies without children, and can I add this? Because these modern-day scientists or practitioners of science, let's say, know what we're about to tell you, that's why they bring you in, take your egg, put it in a gold line centrifuge or test tube, and which carries energy and electricity, right? And sparks that egg without them. That's why they do it, because they know that. But we're not subscribing to that. We're saying they're taking that of which you are and what humanity is and explaining it to the point where they have made the mother and the son fight each other and not have that wonderful union that is established and represented with the symbol that you call the Star of David, or some people erroneously call it the Jewish star, when it's actually a trinity, like the symbolization of civilization. Ancient symbol of civilization is what would look like a triangle or pyramid. When you take that and you point one down, because we are spirit manifest in flesh, and then you take another one and you point it up and you join them together, in perfect harmony. That means perfect knowledge, okay? That symbol is the symbol of the male and feminine and masculine energies coming together. So if we are in this physical form, then that is what is also representing it. Also represents as above, so below. So we're saying come back to the knowledge of the science so that you can receive who you are better, and mothers and sons and children and parents can receive each other better or have a better relationship knowing from whence they came. That's why we're saying it. But, of course, with certain limited, I would say, mindsets who have been brought into by this fictitious womb that they created, all right, and these fictitious authorities, such as what you described, where he's going to tell you, we're going to go find out who you had sex with. They're doing that to find out who the daddy is. They're doing that to further destroy the family, and then they have a system of generating finances. But that, even that, and what, Emmy, you have expressed, it's only because mothers, that's right, mothers, you've allowed it. You have allowed it because it ought not never be. So the purpose is to come out of, or to come into conscience for real, and stop allowing other people to exploit your virtues and your ignorance at the same time, so that the family can unite again.
Islam. All right, now I want to read out of this book. It is entitled The Virgin Birth. Now, I was going to read the section that begins Virgin Birth, but I was just reading something at the top of the page that I want to read because it's the secret teachings of John, and it is actually in harmony with the work that the prophet brought, the message, the truth. It's also in harmony with the 101s, as all ancient scriptures by all prophets are. So I want to just read this excerpt, and then I'm going to read this section on the virgin birth. The purpose of going through, quote, the purpose of going through so much commotion in our evolution is the faulty work of man. You got to know man as mothers. Arising from that fall which occurred in the early transgression. The transgression is not sex or the eating of apple. I believe, Roz, you kind of broke it down in the class you did at House of Ram.
Well, when you talking about the eating of the apple that you eat.
Yeah, they think that, woman, she ate that apple and that's why we in this situation. No, that's not why we're in this situation. That's an analogy that means something totally different, and you broke it down very well.
Well, and that she deceived the man. No, she was on her mission, as mothers always are, to correct things. And when she, if you really know, and even see in Bay tells you, read the book of John, not just the one, and also Revelation, but the book of John we're talking about is not even in the bibliothèque or what you call the Bible, but we do have it on the site. And they say she deceived them. No, she was on a mission to correct things as you are now, sisters, and have been. And that's why one foot is in the cares of the world, right? And the other on the solid rock of foundation. You got to find that balance between the two. But you can't find it if you don't even realize who you are, where you are, and what your purpose and mission is. But making it short, when she being on that mission to get the light, because the light is truth, but listen, everything is symbolized. And so to get the light from one of the children she made, which happened to be a son, don't mean all sons, but it was, and they were arrogantly using the light that comes from life or from his mother. That's when you go to chapter 2. The sons will reveal the light if they have been given the light in the proper manner, as was what was being done when they were ministering to Elizabeth and Mary. Remember that? All right. So that was the science of the womb. To bring in, at that time, they were preparing to bring in the child of light that you call Jesus, that his mama called Yahshua. So anyway, when she said, look, tell this boy here to breathe the light that he got from his mother, because he was using it incorrectly. He was thinking, as a matter of fact, he said, and everybody knows this, I am God, and there is no other God before me. I'm the shit. That's what he was saying. And they were like, oh, my gosh, he's missing the point, right? The arrogance. But he received the arrogance from her. That's why we're telling you all of this is her. But she repented or realized what she had done in error. So anyway, she's on her mission to get this light back and correct this and straighten this mess out. So when she sent her boys, if you will, or her missionaries or whatever you want to call it, because it really calls them stars, but it's really energy, and said, why don't you, because he made a body. This is where Adam and Eve in the Bible comes from. Now, let me explain. You are not descendants of Adam and Eve. You are Genesis 1. If you, like really, that's another thing to get us thinking. If man is mind and spirit manifested in flesh, right, on the sixth day being Venus, being Ma'at, being mother, all right? Friday, that's why Friday's the holy day. So, man was formed in the flesh on that day, mother, that's all it's symbolizing. And man departed from the flesh on that day, mother's womb, that's all it's symbolizing. But it takes you study to get there. Otherwise, you're like, what are they saying? A man was born on Friday and died on Friday? You got to get the keys to understand it. But anyway, so he built a body. That's Genesis 2 for the purpose of tilling and working the earth. But you, from Genesis 1, were here to enjoy life, enjoy the earth, replenish the earth, eat of the meat, which was the fruit from the trees. It's all right in there. So therefore, if you came from Genesis 1, why did you need another creation in Genesis 2? We do not think that way because we don't think. That's why the prophet said, if I could get you to thinking. So I'm speaking to all those who may be coming from the Bible or whatever. Read it. Genesis 1 says you were manifested in the flesh on the sixth day and all the things that happened. So why did you need another manifestation in Genesis 2? But there it is, clear as day. It starts at 2, read Genesis 29 and 30, and then it goes into 2, 1, 2, 3, and 4. It's right there. It's 2 creations. So he created a body trying to mock, and it didn't have any life. So the mission is to get this light that he's misusing and abusing. So breathe the light into this body, and I bet you it'll come to life, because that's the light your mother gave you. And he breathed it in. And when he did, he lost the light. So now he's just triple angry, and said that his mother deceived him. Or this is why they say that the mother deceived him, because at that time he didn't even know who his mama was, all right? And that's a whole other reason. He didn't have any respect, meaning respect means relook. Re and spec, like spectacles, relook. He never relooked to see. And that's all that this whole class is about right today, is to relook, which means respect the order and the truth. And that's all we're laying down. So with that being said, this is why they make up all these stories about the woman deceived Adam and all that kind of stuff like that. But in some sense, we are deceiving our children, our sons, and our daughters. And the reason we are deceiving them to this moment is because we lack knowledge about who we are, and so we pass down this information to our children.
Islam. All right, so I'm going to finish reading this. As we fall, so we must rise again. And it is indeed hard work to get to where we originally were. In fact, it is so hard that only a few will ever get there, as stated in the bibliotext. The multitude will wait to be saved by the scapegoat, but the masters will save themselves. That's an amazing quote, because the prophet said, I come to teach you, now I gave you enough to save the nation, now save yourself. That's the equivalent.
Yes.
If you're looking for somebody else to save you, you just might get saved by the scapegoat.
Oh,
which isn't a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
So you better study so that you can attain mastery and save yourself. Because that's what the prophet brought. He didn't bring dependency. He brought mastery. So with that, I'm gonna read this section entitled Virgin Birth. Zwaardemaker, a Dutch scientist, has demonstrated that potassium ions are radioactive in the human blood, emitting rays that may be detected. Radiations given off by potassium ions may be the agents that it is those radiations which cause fertilization. Similar radiations may be supplied by the sun, that's the sun in the sky, by potassium ions, or by the radiation from another body. Dr. Casanova, in his valuable work, Physiology and Medical Jurisprudence, a contradiction to the prospective reformation of several erroneous doctrines in relation to human reproduction, presents much clinical evidence, along with certain sociological considerations to support his opinion that impregnation occurs from the influence of the aura seminalism, a theory supported by many physicians. He writes, fecundation may take place fecundation may take place without the semen being materially propelled into the uterus. This latter circumstance never occurs. It is an error to suppose that it does so, entertained by those who mistake the uterus for the vagina. This mechanical introduction of semen never occurs. it is the aura which, being attracted from within, produces condensation effect in the manner already described. The proof of the above assertion is to be found in the following facts. 1, that some females who have had an almost imperforate vagina have been fecundated without any portion of material semen being propelled into the vagina, and therefore much less into the uterus. I have known several females in whom the passage was so narrow that it could hardly allow the introduction of a common quell. They could not, of course, allow any degree of penetration on account of the membrane, thus partially closing the vagina, being intrable during coition. 2, that women have been impregnated by men who could not ejaculate the semen into the vagina because of organic malformation of the penis, as in cases where that organ has been amputated and where men who were affected with hypopatia, where the crevice of the urethra is very near the root of the penis, could not ejaculate the semen into the vagina. 3, that women who copulated by the anus, being deficient of the sexual organs externally, have been fecundated nevertheless, and others also conceived through the same channel on account of the total occlusion of the vagina, occurring according to the following case recorded by DeVerge in his Legal Medicine. Dr. Rossi attended a woman in childbirth in the hospital of Turin who had the vagina perfectly closed. The presentation of the child corresponded to the natural part of the cavity. Its head could be felt externally at the pudendum, and as there was no passage at all whereby the woman could be delivered, he made a latitudinal incision through the tissue that closed the vagina canal, and the child was born alive, free from injury. Theory of the aura seminalists finds much support in the fact that impregnation may occur as the result of two women practicing tribadism. It further appears that impregnation by radiation may occur in the lower animals as well. Crew, in his work, Genetics of Sexuality of Animals, reports that much quoted instances of a hen, which after laying eggs and thus proving her own female qualities, began to act like a rooster and succeeded in causing impregnation in another hen. All right, so that's all I'm going to read of that. But this is a book that was written in, it was written in 1957. I have another book written by the author that's entitled The Virgin Birth. I haven't been able to put my hands on it yet, but what I'm showing here is that there is, in fact, scientific proof. If we go to science, that I'm not saying that you need scientific proof. If you just look at the fact that within her ovaries there are eggs. It is from an egg that life springs, not human fluid.
And all it needs is a spark. And that's what the semen offers. That's all we're saying. You know, it's crazy, right?
Now, see, I don't know if
some don't need a spark.
If you were to fast, all right, I can attest to this. If you were to fast, I've done water fast and I've done dry fast. Dry fast is you don't eat or drink anything. Now, I wouldn't advise you do that unless you have worked your way up to it. But I can tell you that during a dry fast, by the third day of a dry fast, there is an energy that is so powerful that begins to move up through you. Some will call it the Kundalini energy. That energy is so absolutely powerful. When you first feel it, it will frighten you. It is so strong. When you feel that type of energy, there's no doubt whatsoever that women are and can begin the division of the egg on their own if they so desire. I personally believe that they're still doing that even now, because as this reading demonstrates, it's the energy of two bodies, not necessarily engaging in what is perceived to be sex, intercourse, but two bodies. And from that, within that woman, a burst of energy will come, and that it is that energy that can, if she desires it, if the body has dropped an egg out of the ovary, it will begin the division of the egg, which will begin the life. And then, look, in this reading, this brief reading, it demonstrates that there were instances where the son, because the vagina was completely shut, never was able to enter the vagina and release any semen fluid, and the woman still became pregnant. That's science. That's a documented case of a man and a woman in Turin over here in the United States of America, but outside of the United States of America. So what would be the reason for the employees of the various municipal corporations to keep this information from you? It is for one reason and one reason only. Negative relationships generate psychological damages, which feed so-called social service programs, which are federally funded. It is a lie. It is absolute gross misinformation. And the only reason that it is put forth is so that the people will continue to fight. Mother and son will continue to fight. Mother will continue to physically and psychologically damage what she thinks is the child that came from the testicles of her son, even though Prophet Noble Drew Ali on the front of the 101 let you know otherwise. So the question that needs to be addressed to mother is, are you going to continue this misinformation while at the same time physically, emotionally, and psychologically damaging your egg, which you think is a son's seminal fluid? There's nothing in science that supports seminal fluid creating life. None. And the reason why I am emphasizing this is because when you look at the fact that women, because of this information, will murder via abortion their egg because they think it's some son's child. That is some twisted, sick psychological damage based on gross misinformation.
Yeah, and that's what it has come to. That is what it has come to, and they use that and to try to hurt him, and it's crazy. They have no idea of their responsibility at all.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. So now, if I could add, interject here, so that we can stay on the mission of the mother, of the family, of nationhood. When I just explained how, getting this light, well, because this body was made and the light is in that tomb, which is the physical body, now the mission is continue to try to minister to have this body, which they call Adam and Eve, this establishment or creation, to remember where it came from, to ascend, to get back to that all-truth light. So this is why you'll have some people who say that Adam means the rememberer, because now the duty in this vast mission of returning to the light, or knowing the light, or being the light, or coming into the light, and not having the light trapped into a physical body tomb, which first must be the temple. Now, hold on. This physical body tomb, this mission now, after relieving it from dangerous hands, let's just put it that way, destructive hands, now it's in the tomb, the body. So everybody has to come through the body, this physical body right here. Where does that body come from? So how is that being done? Through the womb. Through the womb is the building of the body. So the attack remains. The attack remains. And being angry about this, now we're going to put a trap for all those coming through the physical body. And that's what you're seeing, because you've got to come through this, because all your experiences have to be, you have to experience life. So this is where you get to where it's mentioned about Revelation. Revelations 12, 1 through 4, where the dragon is sitting there waiting for the mother to have the child so that it can do what? Devour it. That's how you get to that. Because now the lesson is not, the mission is not done. You got to come through the physical terrain, if you will, Terra, T-E-R-A, or Earth, or Tiamat, whichever name you want to give it, all right? Third rock from the sun, whatever. It's the physical plane. It's the lower realm, for real, coming from another direction, however. So it's where you must come through to these green pastures, and walk through the shore valley of the shadow of death, because all that is physical will perish. This is why man is not the body, the mind. So trapped in the body, and we are looking at generations of having exaltation of the body in terms of being life, the be-all and end-all of life, when it is not. So now, that's the road that we now must go through to be here into this physical body. Then that still starts with her, because she has to form that body, which we also call the temple, right? The grand architect is her, building Solomon, soul of man's temple, which is the body, in the silence, in the darkness, with no hands and no tools, all that coded signs and symbol stuff is all about you, mother, and the body that you, or the temple, that you create, so that we can have this experience, take the trials and tribulations of this existence in the physical, because that's what we have to do now. This is all running after this light to try to gather it back. So that's what happens. So now it's still you creating the haven or the place for this. I won't say evolution. For this experience that must happen. So this is why you hear people say, well, the way of ascent is the way of descent. The way of descent is the way of ascent. So now you got to come through all this to ascend back and then, go on to that other plane of manifest, which is the soul above the physical plane. And that is from chapter 1, and it explains it to you in chapter 1 on that. So it's still her duty, which is the reason why humanity is written on her womb, as you had graciously pointed out. It's written on, well, the prophet also did in his depiction of the woman and being held up by her son, because he has to hold her up, not sit there and try to devour the child when it comes because he's pissed. That's not what he's supposed to do. But that's an energy that has lived and is living. And it doesn't mean that all sons are like that. It just means this is real talk stuff. So, you really got to get on, get that balance as to where you are with the physical and the spiritual and the soul plane, et cetera, like that in the whole thing. You have got to apply that in life in order to make this balance, because the children you have and you yourself, we all know that if you're in the physical form, the physical body will perish at some point at an appointed time. So it's not about so much, this is why you have eternal or everlasting life. Now, they'll tell you that in your Bible studies, man has everlasting life and all of that, but we're telling you why this is being said and what it is, and that this is just an experience you're having here to learn, not to get caught up in the fictitious womb and the fictitious things that are set up. And these people are taking advantage of these scientific facts based on the facts simply that you don't know. So get the goose that lays the golden egg, which is you. Don't kill the goose that's laying an egg. Kill the egg, because we're going to suck it dry so that we can continue to maintain. Why? Because when you go to Genesis 2, you see that there was another creation that was made for the purpose of literally slavery. But that's it. It's right there. You don't even have to read nothing. It's right there. It says so right there. And so you got to know the difference. And, we're, again, we go back to why nationality is based in bloodline. Now, let's say when you know nationality is based in bloodline, then you got to know it's not based in commerce, because that's stuff that was set up. When
that's
you
right.
understand the difference between inheritance, and if you haven't looked it up, because guess what? It's plain as day. It tells you transfer through bloodline. It doesn't say anything about a buy or a sell. It just says through bloodline. In fact, it says that which is not bought. Right? And then look at the inheritance. And you know that the inheritance is, of course, the land as well. It's an ancestral estate. So these other people are operating on it and then switching that around. But that's a whole other class on that one. But still, they set up all of these artificial wombs. And that's what it says in the King Alfred. How do we do this? How do we capture? It's the same thing. How do we capture this? How do we capture life? By creating artificial wombs? Well, what is the real womb? So that means suppress the real womb and create the artificial. And that's all we're trying to do. That's all we do. Go ahead.
And you know what? And that's why, a lot of people don't, you might not be aware of this, but they tell you this stuff all the time. They're not even trying to hide it. We're just not, we don't study, and we're not the scientists. We're trying to go back to being scientists like our ancestors, but truthfully, we're not the scientists that our ancestors were. Because I remember not too long ago, there was a brother promoting, go to the probate court so you can get your inheritance back. Well, the probate courts are all established by municipal corporations. They don't even have any standings. They're not even classified as a lawful court of law according to American law on American land, Moroccan American land. All right? So, But if you look up the word probate, it tells you that the probate is a substitute mother. So here we go back to if we continue right? So this is what the prophet brought mother back. Really, when you looked at it, prophet brought mother back.
Yep.
Because
What did he say? He said how to have a greater respect. Relook for motherhood. Go ahead. Mm-hmm.
He brought mother back because these modern Europeans have to first replace the matriarchy with the patriarch in order to steal the inheritance, in order to brand the people Negro, colored, black. He had to change it from a matriarchy, which is nationality, to a patriarchy, which means you don't have a bloodline and you're following a name, not a blood, a name.
Oh, that's some powerful stuff right there. And we're talking about a title.
Yes.
And
it's an empty title, too. It's an empty title. It means nothing. And the reason it means nothing is because it's based in a false biology. To be a noble son.
Artificial
son, right, to be a noble son is the greatest status you can have as a being on planet Earth as it relates to mother. But if you remove mother, you also remove the noble son.
Yeah. Oh. I'm loving it because I had just had this conversation with someone. The title of son, mother and son. You're right. That's the nobility right there. That's the noble. That is the title that you're born with and will die with, no matter what other titles that you obtain, such as brother, father, husband, etc., grand, master flash, whatever the heck it is. And none of that means more than the one that you came with. Why isn't that good enough? And can I add that when that child is born, he is crowned. That's why they call it to this day crowning. He or she, is crowned. And yes, it comes out with a little point. And you got the popes rolling around with these the Vesica Pisces at him that looks like that point, and all this stuff. That's the point of that's your crown. They got to fictitiously put on the crown. You're born with it, and you come out with it when you're born, and you come out through the Vesica Pisces, which is the vagina, or the uterus through the birth canal. Hello, birth canal, birth canal, right? And then you come out, and your head is pointed or whatever like that, and then it rounds out or whatever. Because you're being crowned right there. So the title of son is station, mother and son. This is why they have the secret, so-called secret society called Mason. Because that's the shit right there. That's what it is. You're, with the fictitious stuff, looking to be accepted in another way, not re-looking, which is what respect is, yourself and from whence you came by your creator. Because even when these modern Europeans who are trying to come up from being enslaved, they said all men are endowed with certain unalienable rights by their creator. So you already have it. You already have it. But the fiction has you chasing something else. And let me say this. For those who are thinking, that's not how it is. It is how it is. This information and this spiritual knowledge, all right, is the only answer to you can be in the physical. You can't, and you know what? Max Heindel, he says it right here. In this world, no, he says, I'm sorry, where did I find it at? That which has a beginning, same thing the prophet said, must have an end. And conversely, that which is without ending can never have had a beginning, because man is mind and spirit. You're not the body. So he says in the human spirit, if the human spirit is immortal and cannot die, neither can it be born. If it will live to all eternity, it must have lived from eternity, and there is no escape from this truth. Pre-existence must be accepted its immortality is a fact in nature. This is what this. If this world, in this world, there is no law more plainly observable than the law of alternating cycles, which decrease day and night, summer and winter, walking and sleeping. Under the same law, man's life is lived alternately in the physical world, where he sows seeds of action and gains experiences according to his horoscope. These, the fruits of existence here, are later assimilated as soul powers in the spiritual world. Birth and death are thus nothing more than gateways from one phase of man's life to another, and the life we now live is but one of a series. The differences of character, nobility or brutality, moral strength or weakness, possession of high ideals or low instincts are certain signatures of soul power or soul poverty. It's all right. Finer faculties are the glorious garments of gentle souls walked through many lives in the crucible of concrete existence by trial and temptation. Let me stop right there. And although he made me lie down in the green pastures and I'm not tempted by evil, I'm telling you, this is just an experience that's physical. They shine, though, with a luster which eliminates the way and makes it easier for others to follow. Portions of caliber proclaims the young in life's school, but repeated existence here will in due time smooth the rough corners, mellow, and make them soulful. The horoscope shows this difference in the texture of the soul and the act of progression, which fan the fires in the furnace of affliction, to cleanse and purify the soul of blemish, or brighten the crown of virtue when victory is won. But though the planets show the tendency, most accurately there is one indeterminate factor which is not shown, and that's a veritable astrological X, the will power of man. And upon that rock, astrological predictions are ever liable to founder. All right. In the final analysis, we are the arbiters of our destiny, and it is significant that while it is possible to predict for the great majority of mankind with absolute certainty that the prediction will be vindicated, because they drift along the seas of life, directed by the current of circumstance, predictions for the striving idealist fail in proportion to his spiritual attainment of will, which rouses him to self-assertion and resistance of all wrong. That's what you're here for, okay? And absolutely, it's temporary. That's why the prophet says in chapter 1, there never was a time when man was not. Man is mine. Never was a time when man was not. If man had a beginning, he would have an end. So if you accept that and know that, why are you backing so much? In other words, you got to stay on this narrow path in your physical experience and try to defray those temptations, although obstacles will be put in the road. The fact that the obstacles are there is not the problem. How you get around them is. But what we've done is we've allowed this fictitious structures to direct our lives in this temporal place. We're here for a reason. And yes, the distractions will be there. How you get around them. We're not here to be distracted or to, be overcome by the distractions. All right? Mm-hmm. So other is just creating the daggone temple, the body from which your soul, right, and your spirit which animates your soul shall traverse on this earth plane to give you the opportunity to become greater. That's it. And for your experience that you need to have. And we want to diss that and disrespect that and not see that and not see that the true title is mother and son that you're born with and will die with. That's the crazy part. You're born that way and you're going to die. We say, you're born a mother's son, you're going to die a mother's son. It doesn't matter. The true title there is my son. Now, when we talk about the cares of the world that she's ministering to, and part of it is because she's got her cares in the world, but also the fact that Genesis 2 created this other thing that now we got to minister to, which is kind of man or kin to man or what it is, mankind. So you're talking man and mankind. a kind of man. You know, and if you don't know this, you're in trouble. What are you really bringing forth that's coming from your womb? And, you know, you can choose, but you really can't choose. That's why we're saying this. You, mother, cannot escape this, because while the child is in your womb, you are the first teacher, period. So if you don't know Jack, you're teaching the same. Or I won't say if you don't know Jack, that might sound cruel, but if you don't know these things that automatically bring elevation to man, period, to existence, period, because those children that you birth are going into society. And as you said, you're raising your children to hate their father. You're raising your children to hate the mother. You know, that's what's going into society. And that's craziness, because we don't even have an understanding of the relationship we're supposed to have from the jump. So here we are. And we have to be with conscience, meaning with science. And I do also, and we spoke about, well, here's the problem. You know, everyone has their will, so their will shall be done. But, you know, so to give the foundation, it's just like raising a child. You give them the foundation as best you can, of course, and then they grow up and they will not stray from those ways. Just like in chapter 23 says that about raising children. So the child who never gets a good foundation, well, they're going to have a harder time. And the child who does get a good foundation, just simple things, then, you know, they'll have something to come back to after they, quote, unquote, go astray or sow their oats or whatever you want to call it, you know what I mean, try to stretch out to be. But we talked about, and I had this conversation with someone just yesterday. I remember in the beginning, I was like, well, we got to teach the children. No, you can't teach the children because you got to have the permission of the parents. Okay, no problem. Let's go teach the parents. Can't teach the parents because they're too wrapped up in the fiction. But it doesn't mean you can't teach them. It doesn't mean that. But it's like, where do you start? And the truth of the matter is, and the matter of the truth is, it starts with the children, period. That's it, and that's all. Because that's going to be, the next generation is based on the children. So this is why we're saying to you, teach them now. Teach them early. Don't bet. Like the prophet even said, he says, get this into your children at all costs. So don't bet yourself, right, into, you know, this fiction. Listen, sisters, they got a fictitious womb. They're mocking your womb and everything they do because of the power of birth, the power of existence. I mean, you know, they're mocking you and you're running. It's craziness, you know, and it's getting out of hand, wouldn't you say, where, you know, all these years you've given them permission to go after your sons because they didn't pay fiat notes child support, but really it's because you're angry at him because you don't know who he is, you don't know who you are. Now they flipping the script. What they doing now? Taking the child, giving it to the son, knowing that they got it. Right there they got it. Why do they have it? Because in nature, in law, and in common sense. I remember one thing my father, peace and grace upon him, because he's passed. I'll never forget, he always said the child belongs with their mother, talking about a small child. And it was unheard of. And I say, too, you know, you got these quote-unquote family service fictitious wounds and probates, which you just said probate means substitute mother. There you go again. All right? And he got a 3-month-old baby, and he's pushing it in a baby cart, stroller or whatever, and the baby needs to be on the breast of the mother. But, we got to do this because he needs to see the child for 4 days or 3.5 days out of the week, and you need him for 3.5 days. That's some sick stuff right there. This is not cool at all. But they are taking full advantage of, yes, it's out of hand now.
Psychological damage. And
more
all
damage.
based on, it's creating a psychological damage, and it's all based on an absolutely incorrect truth about biology. Absolutely incorrect. And people need to recognize this. You may have some personal and emotional feelings about this topic, but this is the bottom line. In order for for the future generation, the young and the yet unborn, that Prophet Noble Drew Ali speaks of, to come here knowing. That means mother got to know. Mother,
yes,
at all costs, must know, because she's the one that's going to be imprinting that child. Everything that's in her is going to be going right into that child. And if she's twisted, that child is going to be twisted. That is the reality of the situation. That is the reality of the situation. And if this incorrect biology continues, she's going to continue to think that that child came from the testicles of some son, and she's going to feel, like she's justified in physically, emotionally, and mentally, psychologically damaging that child just to get back at the son because she can. And then the son, because of gross misinformation, he thinks he's the father when he's the son. There really is absolutely no family that is a mother, father, and a child. It's mother, but if he continues to promote this false biology, he will continue to claim her egg, thinking it came from his testicles, and that's going to further psychologically damage the child, because that's not nature. You're never, ever, ever going to go into the wilds of nature and find a lion taking the cub from the lioness. She will fuck him up, because she knows true biology, even if we, the supposedly superior beings, don't.
She protects the cub. That's why, listen to this. Now, astrologically, hold on, let me interject the astrology on that, too. Because, they'll use a thing and say, but she protects those children like a lion, right? Because that's what the lion does. It makes all attempts to protect the child. But where is Leo, the lion, in astrology? Fifth house. What's the fifth house? House of creation, be it children or whatever you may create, because it is a house of creation. And opposite from that, so the creations are what you actually create. Your hobbies can also be what you're creating, or whatever like that. But opposite from it is Aquarius, which is the creations of the mind. They don't necessarily have to manifest physically. See, that's the polarity, and that's why the Aquarians are, and we're in the Aquarian age, are about getting information, and it's called the information age because it's the Aquarian age. The masses of people, they're in that social house. Aquarius sits in the social house of objectives, not subjective, which is Leo. It's the house of children or of creation. So that lion and that association and that lesson in nature about how the lion protects the cub sits the same in astrology in the fifth house, which is the house of the lion, Leo the lion, and your creation. So these are the lessons that you, mother, have to already know and pass down while you're building the temple of the soul of man, of that child, because it's the soul that runs and has this experience in the physical, which is the lowest realm called Asa, or what we call Asha, or earth, all right? Having this experience, this child needs to be equipped to come on to these green pastures and come through these trials and tribulations to strengthen their soul. They need to be equipped, and you have the responsibility and obligation to equip them first and foremost in your womb while you're building the temple and passing on all of your information to this child, including things through your bloodline. That's it.
Islam.
Islam, that's it.
Islam. All right, so what we're going to do at this time, Roz, I hope you're in the studio. We're going to take a few callers. If you have a question, a comment, or a concern, please press 1 on your telephone dial, and we will take your call. We're going to start out with, I think this is Sister Carol. Is that you?
Islam. Peace and love. I tell you, Sister Anna Ida L. and Sister Roz Mariah, I tell you, you weren't harsh enough today. So there's no need for apology. Because, I mean, it's no time. It's no time to play games anymore. We got to put the fire under our behinds, especially mothers. But excellent class. And then in the syllabus, it just said everything. When you talked about the descent bloodline, the blood from mother, this was so, I mean, you can't get any more clearer than this. No more. Let me just give you an example. It's so funny because I had my grandchildren for the last 2 weeks of the summer because their after school facility wasn't available. So I listened to my classes and catch up on some of the different classes, and so I was sitting there singing "We Are the Moors, the Mighty Mighty Moors." Everywhere we go, people want to know. So the next day I come in, and then I noticed my grandchildren. They start, the girl and the boy, they start singing it. So the next day I come in, and I told my grandson, I said, "You're not black," because I think a little child in his class called him black. I said, "You're not black. So look at the color of your skin. What is it?" He's 6, right? I said, "It's brown." So I said, "Somebody calls you black?" He said, "No, I'm not black. I'm a Moor." Or he would say, I'm brown, you know. So anyway, so the next day when I came to take care of him, he said to me, "My mother said, we're not Moors and we cannot sing that song." So I said, yeah. I said, "I'm not going to go against them." I said, well, listen to Mommy and Daddy. You know, they're trying to teach you the best they can. But I said, remember, you're a Moor. So I won't bring it up to them anymore. So hopefully that sinks in. But what's so funny is that, I have not seen or heard from my grandchildren since. Now, I have to assume they must be upset about that, but they never approached me about it because my granddaughter's birthday was a few weeks ago. And I asked my son, I said, what are you doing for her birthday? And he's so vague about it, so I just kind of let it go. I said, well, she's getting older now. Maybe she just wants to be with the other children and stuff like that. But it didn't happen. They had some little affair for her, but I wasn't invited. And I'm like, wow. It kind of hurt my feelings, but I got over it. And I said, well, if they're upset about me trying to tell their children the truth, then they should have said something to me. Then I wouldn't say anything else to them. But hopefully I just put enough seeds in their mind for them to look into it as they get older. Or if they come to me and ask me, I'll be able to tell them. Because I have every book RVBey has. I have every book you have, and I'm not gonna stop doing what I'm doing, So it's something. Now my daughter, she's a little bit more open. She's a little concerned because like so many of these young mothers, man, their minds, and we've been dishonest. Obviously, even I, because if I knew this information, them growing up, they would have grown up so much differently. But she's open for it, and she listens to a lot of things, but she still has that black mentality. And I'm trying to get her, so let's just say melanated or Moors. So this class was excellent. I just wanted to say that. And like you said about the lion protecting the mother. And if you notice, too, the lion, when she has her, when she's ready to have the baby, she'll leave the pack for a few weeks until the babies are old enough to come back. She won't even stay there with them and give birth. So that's important as well. But we as mothers, women, we definitely have to wake up. This is our responsibility. Yeah. We definitely have to fix it. Oh, another thing. Let me tell you another story. I had a Jehovah's Witness come to the door the other day. They were pleasant. So I said, okay, you want to give me a lesson? Let me give you a lesson. So I gave them some information. Yeah, because I had some of the flyers left and the paperwork you sent me when I did my books. So I said, well, this is about Noble Ali. And I said, we honor all prophets. And, so the little boy was standing behind one. And he made it his business to come from behind it to hear what I was saying. I said, this is for you, young son. I said, you're not black, you're not colored. It has nothing to do with your religious beliefs. But this is who we are as a people. I said, we're Moors. So I said, now you give me something, let me give you some. So hopefully something sunk in there. So it's just interesting how different things come into are coming to a head now, and you can feel the difference too. There's definitely stuff going on. Definitely.
Yeah. It's interesting when you said that. The person didn't want you to teach the child that truth, because I have to say, just yesterday I was talking to someone and they were asked what's their nationality, and their response was, Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior. I said, well, we're all Christ-like. We all strive to be Christ-like, crystal clear. Sure, but that wasn't the answer. That's not what we asked you. And so and that's what religious dogma has done to people. So they don't even think right. They're not even thinking along those lines at all. Now, and so that's what they're going to pass on. And they're not going to even entertain it and don't know the importance of it. But it's coming. It's coming. And I know that I'm not going to say much about that BIE thing, because I think the brothers on Sons of Allah, which is, I think this coming Thursday, are going to get into the new thing they're trying to put out called Black Identity Extremists. That's all the people that's doing Black Power, Black this. It's interesting to me how now that nationality has and always really was what's up, but it's coming to more consciousness level, that they are now turning that compass needle to attack people who are saying they're black. That has always been, here's what we got to understand, that has always been their reserve for even establishing such jurisdictions or such fiction. See, because they could know they could always come back on it later after damaging the people, removing them from their bloodline, nationality, and bloodline from their mother, and then telling them they're Negro, colored, and black. Now they're going to come back on it and pick up the pieces for those now who are still hollering black this, black that, because the truth of the matter and the matter of the truth, there are no rights that exist in the claiming of that. It is civil liter mortuus, period. No civil liberties, no civil rights, no rights at all exist in that at these times, all the time. Always has been that you must honor your mothers and fathers by principles. And black is not it. It is a description. It was created as a fiction jurisdiction that ain't even really a jurisdiction at all that's proper, so that you can rest and run into it. And now they're coming back to get you, because you still didn't get it. Just like the commerce thing, where people are thinking, go through commerce, and another 10 years from now, I'm just going to say 10, I think it's shorter than that, they're going to come and get you too, because nobody is honoring the truth or claiming the respect and honor of their ancestors. And that's one of the things that must be done. You see? You and the prophet said, you can now, nobody can change your descent nature. You know what I'm saying? And that was ignored because, get real on this broadcast, because in order to do so, you must recognize your mother and the bloodline that comes from her, and that is what has been derailed from. And the rest is a fictitious one. So it's coming, it's here. Islam. Let me see. I think Anna E might be off for a second, so I might have to do the next caller. No, I don't have a message from her, so. Oh, thank you for sharing, Carol. Sister Carol.
All right. Peace and love.
Peace
and thank you.
So, and go to the caller, which is 973-280. Is that you, Carol? Did I just press the same person? 973-280. radio. That's you, correct?
Still me. I'm on the line.
Oh, that's you. Okay, all right. I did the wrong
Take
thing.
it from the top. Take it from the top.
All righty. All right. You and go to 510-334. You are live on the air.
Islam. I am Anthony Bey calling from Morocco.
Peace and love, brother.
Peace and love.
Mm-hmm.
I was just listening to the show, I'm enjoying it. As you were talking and you were saying other nations, other nationalities know this truth.
Mm-hmm.
I happened to witness. I was in the room. A couple was in the process of filling out the paperwork for the birth of and naming the child. I happened to be passing by on the Job, and they looked like they were Hindustani, and I happened to pass by, and the question was asked, well, will she be keeping her name or changing it? And he just silently said, oh, she'll be keeping hers. She'll be keeping hers. Meaning, they are aware of the bloodline status. The bloodline, not status, but the bloodline and heritage. And I witnessed that personally. And it just brings more affirmation to as your eyes open, as you become conscious and looking and observing things.
Yes.
It's just not hidden. It's there in our face, but we just need to be,
educated properly.
Educated. There you go. Thank you.
Because it's within. We just been derailed with misinformation that causes the destruction of the family, intendedly so.
Yeah. And the other thing is I just went for my niece's baby shower, and it turns out that the son is conscious, meaning that her mate is conscious, meaning he's aware of, he's a Moor. And there were some, his friends were there as well. And my niece, she's aware, but she just needs more information. But I think they're going to be all right. He's aware of the birth certificate fraud, and he's aware of a couple of things. But yeah, I think they're going to be all right with that as well.
And as you may know, that it takes time to absorb the information. You got to really like when you first hear it, like you said, she's aware of that. Makes sense, but she got to dig in and see who, what, where, why, and how. You know what I mean? So that it can be truly effectuated. The miseducation and the misinformation has been going on for generations. So you gotta I call it, have the exorcism of that, and then have the baptism of the truth, the truth information. So, and a lot of people, they may run out on a little bit of information, and that's dangerous. You know what I'm saying? You got to take time and really dig into it. And I think that's why it's for the young and yet unborn and the generations. It's going to take a minute to do that. For some, for many, for most.
Yeah. It's on. So I'll yield up. Yeah. It's on.
So I would say thank you for bringing that observation was for you when you was at that place and they were talking about the child being named. That was for you because the whole thing of taking on the father's name is a patriarchal thing that just happened with the CMB explains. I think it's the white society, whatever they're called. I don't have the name, but it's in A Clock of Destiny, or what they call themselves, the white society. They're the ones who created and established the marriage license. And it's funny because they did it to keep, at the time, to keep the Moors from marrying and mating or whatever with their European daughters. That's the reason they established it. You know what I'm saying? That was the part of the reason they did that. But that still was within their family. That has nothing to do with us, and this is what we need to understand. So then we took on their stuff, you know, by being in false jurisdiction and cut off the bloodline. So,
I think it was. Yeah. We don't wish to amalgamate with the foreign pale-skinned nation.
Oh, my goodness!
Is that what it was?
You know what? Yes. When I first got that, and I wasn't in error. I just had better understanding of it now. I said, well, he's talking politically, because I was trying to tell people, if you want to mate with someone, if you fall in love with someone, it doesn't matter what they look like. That's your experience. However, he's talking politically, which I was right, because politically is the political allegiance to your family. But now I really, really get it for certain, because you can't mix it like that. You can't have because whoever the mother is, that's who the child is. So it just became more clear to me why it was that. And that we did not wish to amalgamate with. He qualified it by saying the pale-skinned nations of Europe. Ha ha. Yeah. Islam. All right. All right. Thank you, brother.
You're welcome. Peace and love.
Peace and love.
I'll just listen. Continue listening.
All right. I'll just mute you. All right. So we have 562-253. You're live on the air.
Islam. This is MHHS.
Islam.
I'm calling because I had an accident on Friday the 13th. I was hit by a deaf man, and he got a ticket, and I was attacked by 5 employees after the accident.
5 employees of what? Go ahead.
Of Long Beach Police Department employees.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, so he was able to get a suit, and I have to deal with everything else. I was bailed out, and I just reserved my rights as far as I can.
You said he was able to get a suit.
Yeah, he just got a ticket and was able to leave the scene, and they attacked me because I let them know for the record I'm Aboriginal, Indigenous to the land, and I showed them my right to travel card. It was 1 Mexican and the rest Caucasian, and so like the Mexican one was like feeling left out about information. Basically, you know, the Caucasian ones got more of the information than he knows of his own history. So they used him to challenge me. He asked, I went to my car after I had one of their doors slammed in the center of my back. I went back to my conveyance to, like, clean it out and, you know, get ready to move some stuff away from the damaged car. And he asked for my keys, and I have so much stuff in my hand, he just snatched my purse out of my hand, and everything is on the ground. Everything I have is on the ground.
Oh, and that's brutal.
Yeah, and so they took me to the ground face first. I had over 5 men, knees, elbows in my back. And so I bit 2 of them, you should say, because protecting myself, they were close to my neck, choking me, and then they flipped me over to my back.
All right. Well, let me say
that
this.
They were going to tase me.
They were going to tase you. All right, that's brutality. That's brutality. But here's what I want to say to you. MHHS eyes wide open at gmail.com is the email. This topic conversation is good for our Tuesday National Principles show. And so we would, if you could contact us on MHHS Eyes Wide Open, and this is a Tuesday discussion, and I there's a whole lot more that I want to say to you, but because it kind of the picture is there. They just upset that obviously you gave them a nationality card and travel card, and then they started treating you. Okay, all right. Did they take that property from you, or did they take that from you?
Yes, they took. I had more than one pair of sets of nationality identification cards.
Yeah.
They took some, and then they also went through all of my personal property
stuff
to find a driver's license that's going to expire like next Friday, and so they use that driver's license to this is the discussion about those things that we don't really discuss on this particular show. So if you could email to mhhsopen@gmail.com, sister, and then maybe we can assist you from there and have this conversation on the Tuesday show after we hear from you as to what happened and what they charge you with and all that, because they got charging documents. They charged me with resisting arrest.
Right.
That first,
right. Yeah. Right. We understand, but there was never any arrest. They just created it on the spot. So if we could have this discussion with you, if you would contact MHHS Eyes Wide Open, we can have further discussion with you about it then, all right?
No problem. Thank you.
All right. Peace and love, sir.
Peace and love.
Mm-hmm. All right. We have 206. Oh, hold on. Wait a minute. You're not on yet. Yeah. 206-775. You're live on the air.
Islam, Empress?
Yeah. Can you talk a little louder? Yeah, a little low.
Can you hear me?
Now it's better, yes. Yes.
Okay, I'm on my Bluetooth. I might have to adjust it.
All right.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Islam, thank you for taking my call. This show, it really touched me. I needed to hear this show today. I really did. I was very recently having a conversation with my husband about how I felt really overwhelmed. I'm like, there's so much responsibility as a woman. And I have this conversation with my daughter as well, because she sees that I do it all. And she's like, Mom, you're never sit down. Because it's just not just our family, my husband and my child. I have what they call now my extended family, my mother, my uncle, my auntie, my cousins. And I got to take care of them all, And so I was feeling really overwhelmed. I'm telling my husband, basically I was going in on him like, you ain't nothing. And so I realized, like, as a woman, like, that is truly my role within my family. I'm the only female. My grandmother had 3 kids, but my aunties and uncles had boys. My mom had me and a boy. I'm the only girl, and I'm the only one who can still have children. I had a girl. So I am my grandmother's line, the only one.
Yes.
Like, I'm continuing that. So it's like that responsibility is where it's supposed to be, on me, and not so much on my husband, because he's not the father. He's a son. So I have to look at him like, okay, he's not going to know everything. Because I was telling him, you're not a leader. You're not leading us. You're not doing nothing. But that's not his place. It's mine.
There you Yes.
So I really needed to hear this show, like, seriously, and I need to apologize to my man. But
very good, very good. And whatever you do, apologize and understand the sensitivities and just pat on the back and, like that. That's right. Apologize to them, because we often give too much responsibility that belongs to us to them that is not for them. So I'm glad you brought that up. Yes.
A lesson learned that I needed to learn, and it's difficult that I don't have the elders in my family, because we were taught that the man leads. Like, I always tell him, like, this is how I was raised. This is how my grandparents, that's how they told me they were raised, that the man is the dominant one, the man is the leader, you know, everybody, you take the man's name and, you know, all this type of stuff. So, and then I experience my own life and I see that it's not really like that. I'm not, none of the men in my family are really the leaders. They come to us females, my mother, my auntie, and myself. They come to us for guidance and for help.
Wow. So you experienced that, and you're right. That's the misinformation. That's the patriarchal, out of nature situation that has been put on us that we bought into, and this causes you. What you're explaining too is look at the frustration that it caused you, and how you even recognize the fact. I gotta go apologize to them. Look at the frustration that it caused you and the anxiety that now you realize I should never have had that.
And my husband feels like he feels bad too. Like that's messing with his self-esteem and his, you know, he's having issues with that. And I'm like, dang, I really took it far.
Well, because that's what women do. Women give the direction. Thanks for bringing this up. Women give the direction from the womb on up. So this is why we have to give that direction, that instruction. You know what I mean? They're looking for it from us, and then we turn around as if we're looking for it from them, and it causes a problem because the first instructions that they ever get is from you in the womb, on the breast, all the way up. You know, and so then somewhere somehow it got turned around and it's confusing. That's what a strong mother is. And when you get into the ancestry, you know, I remember a song by Bill Withers that talked about grandma's hands. Listen to that song. Look at all the things that grandma's hands did.
Yeah.
She soothed everybody. She talked to the sister about the man that she loved. She told little Billy, don't run too fast. Might be snakes there in the grass. She did all that. She did all of that. And that's the family. And that's another thing. The family component is broken down because no longer do you have the mother or the grandmother or the grandparents, the aunts and uncles in the home as the family component. All right. You know, we're divided. You don't even like your sister or your uncle or your aunt or all of these crazy. Right.
Right. Because everybody was saying, like, oh, my husband was saying, well, you know, you do a lot for your extended family, like referring to, like, my aunt, you know, the elders. But I'm like, that's my family. Like, that's not my extended family. Like, my husband looks at it like, okay, we have our family, me and him, our child, and then we have our extended family, his mother and father, my mother, my aunt, my uncle, my people. That's our. I'm like, no, that we're all one family, you know. And
well,
so it's
thanks for saying that.
We have this.
That's how it's supposed to be. Now I'll tell you this astrologically. Look at the ninth house. And it will tell you, and you'll be probably shocked, how you are dealing with the third house is your siblings, your immediate family, your siblings, your immediate community. So they would be your siblings, brothers, sisters, and the neighbors and stuff that you grew up with. And then the ninth house is the challenges or the situation regarding your mate's family is in the ninth house, Sagittarius house, because it's on the social side, and it is a direct polarity.
Ah, interesting.
Right. So go in there, see if there's any conflict or aspects that cause conflict, and then you will be able to deal with it because and you're learning a lesson now, but that'll help you learn it a little more.
Oh yeah, I did my chart. I did my daughter's chart. I did my husband's chart.
Yes.
And I mean, I was even telling him that what the things in our relationship that we can improve on, but we are mated well. Like we are good mates. We are a balance of each other, but it's just finding that balance, you know. And part of finding that balance is not expecting him to be the leader.
But you can't tell them they're not. But you can't tell them they're not leaders. I can't tell him he's not a leader. You cannot tell him that he's not a leader. No.
I won't tell him. I should not tell him he's not a leader. But I can't think that.
You can't say it
from him.
You can't say it. You gotta be it. Because if you say it, the words don't resonate well. Because they have their position and their duties. But here's why you can't tell them. Because whatever they are that they're supposed to do, they came from you.
Yeah.
You can't do you understand what I'm saying to you? So it's a silent thing.
So when for instance, let me give you an example. Like me and my husband were having a conversation, and he was telling me his view of like his role within a marriage or as a man within society. And he sees himself as the protector and the provider. That he must protect me and my daughter. He must provide for us. Okay, so this is what I told him. I said, well, what do you mean by protecting? He's like, make sure no harm comes to you. Make sure, there's food on the table. I'm like, okay, cool. Now, from me, my perspective is that what I need from you is I need for you to care about me and to support me. But to be real, protection, not really. Provide, I can do that for myself. Our roles in society have changed. You know what I mean? I can protect myself. Like, I'm not.
That doesn't matter. Listen to me. Listen. It doesn't matter that many women today can provide for themselves. That might be true, but that does not mean you strip that from him. They can't take that because their directions and instructions started from the womb in the first place. Now you can have a specific conversation, right? See, this is what women need to understand and understand. Now do you get it? So you can have a specific conversation with him about what was mismanaged or mistold or whatever, and that's between y'all or whatever in your relationship. But understand what I'm saying. So his duty is to provide. And don't talk about, the woman, I make more money, so therefore I'm a better provider.
Right.
So never do that, because when he says protect and provide, that's exactly what he means. And protect and provide even means as much as maintaining the home that you're in. Doesn't necessarily have anything to do with FRN or whose name is on the so-called mortgage use deed. No, it has to deal with if the house is falling apart or the window broke or something, fix it. Provide.
Yeah. Because
that is the shell that protects you. That's the provision. It means if something's falling apart in the house, fix it. And guess what? They love that. But now we go into the social thing of where they don't teach home economics or shot to the sons anymore in school. So now we got a whole generations and generations of those who don't even know that. So now everybody's getting lost in their position. Now do you understand what I'm saying now?
Perfectly. I understand perfectly.
All right.
Yep.
All right.
Thank you. Then can I make one other comment? Is
Sure.
there time or no time? So we also were having a conversation about our child because my husband was born in Sudan. He calls himself Ethiopian, but he was born and raised in Sudan, and he's been living here in America.
Born and raised where? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you say in Ghana. And where?
Sudan.
Oh, Sudan. Okay. Yes.
Yeah. Yes. So he calls himself Ethiopian. So we were having a conversation because he's saying to my daughter, well, you know that I'm Ethiopian, and half of you're Ethiopian too because I'm Ethiopian. And I'm telling him, okay, wait. Now, you're telling our child that she's Ethiopian because you're Ethiopian, but you told me out of your own mouth that you was raised in Sudan, that you were born in Sudan. So why are you Ethiopian? He says, because my mother's Ethiopian. I said, there you go. So wouldn't our daughter be what I am, not so much what you are?
All right. First of all, forget Sudan and Ethiopia. They're both corporate whatevers. Sudan used to be Ethiopia, or what you call Ethiopia today. All of that was all something else. So the cultural stuff that he may be getting from that land or from the people in that land are passed down regardless to the corporate veils that they put on top of it, such as Ethiopia, which I don't even want to go into. I do and I don't. Because we're not Negroes, colored, blacks, nor Ethiopians.
No, don't even go into it because I tell him that too. But I tell him we are all one. We are all one blood. So to tell my daughter
let me give you something you can say, and then there's like 4 more calls. Let me just say this. Because I had this conversation with someone who's running around saying they're Ethiopian because they did some history there. And they told me that the root word of Ethiopian is Ethop. And Ethop means the I believe it was the freeborn or something like that. So yes, Ethop, the root of it is the freeborn people, but Ethiopian is something. It's something totally different. So
does it not mean a divided people?
No, it doesn't mean a divided people.
Does not. But did that name come into play when essentially those lands were separated and those people were separated?
I didn't understand what you said. You said no. Ethiopian means is a demarcation line, but it's just it is. Look, all of us are divided people at this point, for real. All right.
Yes, correct.
For real.
Correct.
We as Moors, first navigators, are the mothers and fathers of civilization and civilization principles on the entire planet, all four corners. No matter where you go, they call it Ethiopia, they call it Sudan, they call it Nigeria, all of that stuff. It doesn't matter. We're talking the four corners of the earth, when you do the ancient ancestral, they all are, period. Regardless to what it looks like today. Regardless to what it's called today.
Correct. And that's the issue that the conversation we were having, because my husband and his mother don't aesthetically look how they
you know what, you're breaking up a little bit, a lot of it. To be honest, I'm loving your conversation because it's right. There you are. You're a little better now.
He thinks aesthetically that he looks a certain type of way, but my point to him was to tell him that what he's doing is taking that same divided mindset and he's putting it on our child, trying to tell her that she's Ethiopian when she's a Moor. You understand?
Oh,
so,
okay.
He's a Moor. He's a Moor.
All right.
He's a Moor also. He's a Moor also.
All right. So this is important then. Ethop, the root of Ethiopian, just means freeborn people. So go back to that if he's going to go back to anything, but the child nor him is an Ethiopian in terms of a identifier, because it's just a demarcation line of land. That's it. That's what it is.
Okay.
And it's a veil that was placed over it. You see? Try that and then get back to us.
For sure.
All right. Peace
Blessing and peace to you. You can meet me or I'll meet myself.
Yeah, MHHS Eyes Wide Open. You can send an email if you have something more to add to that we can answer back. All right. We have like 3 or 4 more callers. I got to take them. I think I took the 903. I'll save that. 251-580. You're on the air.
Islam, family, peace and love.
This
is Central L.
Islam. How are you?
Right. I was calling in to comment on one part of the show when you was talking about the egg and the sperm.
Yes.
The only thing I wanted to say is, before I start, I would like to say that I completely agree with raising the female back in her proper place in the household. And then in the nation.
Say that again. Say that again. You're a little muffled.
Sorry about that. I wanted to say that I completely agree with raising a female back into a proper place and person in the household and in the nation.
Yeah.
Right. And the only thing I wanted to say, and it's coming from like a personal place because I look just like my dad, and I wanted to comment that the sperm does at least supply some genetic some genetic material.
No, I can tell you what it is. I'll tell you what it is, and it should be a part 2. First of all, accepting this that is biological. There is no blood exchange when the sperm hits the egg. The truth of the matter is, it's called imprinting. Now, that is a second level that it would be even harder for people to accept if they don't have the proper relook or respect for womanhood. And as part of the class about woman, we also were given, and it makes sense, called imprinting, the power of the womb, man, the woman, is that she could have laid down with your father, let's say, who sparked the egg, and usually because she can imprint a thing that, she imprints on the child when it's in the womb. This is what we got to get. She imprints everything. She loved your father at the time, let's say. But 5 children down, the child don't look like nobody. Maybe the 3rd or 4th child looks like the man down the street that she's never touched, because that's that she might be thinking about. Now, I'm just giving you an extreme, but it's really not extreme. It's called imprinting, and that's what women do. And that's why in the womb, while building the temple, everything she thinks, she eats, she does is imprinted onto the child. And so that explains, because if we know for a fact that there's no blood exchange with the semen when it hits the egg, then how does it get to look like your dad? I had the same situation. My husband at the time, he would eat his food in a certain way. Like he would just eat all of one thing first and all of another thing this way. And guess what? I didn't do that in my family. But it's something that imprinted on me because I thought it was strange or whatever, maybe, or whatever, or it was left in me, and my child was born doing the same thing because it's what I was thinking. And I used to tell them all the time, why do you do that? But many people may do that. So she imprints. Her power is that great. And see, and I'm sure you understand that, but a lot of people, because they don't know biology and know the power of the womb and energy and spirit, they may not be able yet to accept that truth yet, because first they got to accept that there's no blood exchange biologically first. Then they can graduate to understanding the power of the science of the number 9. And imprinting is a party to it. Islam?
Islam. U.S.
All right. Oh, that's what you was going to say. It's true. It's the truth.
Right.
I appreciate you bringing that up because it needed to be brought up. And I, like I said, it would be more like a part 2 to the understanding of your creator. Thank you.
Right.
All right.
Islam, family.
Islam. And I think I missed a caller. 903-609. You're on the air.
Islam, Roz, and Anaid.
Islam.
Islam, how are you guys doing today?
Great. And you?
Good. I'm doing good, sitting out here in this rain in the territory of Louisiana right now, trying to get over to the Georgia area. But I didn't catch the beginning of the show because I tuned in late, but I think everything's going to be on point anyway. I was just calling you guys to let you know that from last Wednesday's program, when you guys when you spoke about the secret book of John, I just wanted to tell you thank you. Cool.
All right.
Okay. I got to read things, start breaking it down with my roommate, and it became crystal clear. Okay. Crystal clear about what happened and our erroneous thinking about the way things are. And so we've been discussing it for a couple of days. I actually want to try to do a video. I really, got some issues about, putting my face on the camera, really. But I really want to do a teaching on that because we haven't been taught that higher level of how that thing transitioned to where we are today. And it's some relevant points in there. People who are dogmatic in their thinking and hell-bent on Christianity the way it was given to us, they're not going to see that, okay? No. So when you were just talking to the young man and you said that it was imprinting and her power is that great, that's that power of Sophia.
Yes.
Because that power transferred over to Barbelo, okay, in first thought. You know what I'm saying? It's the thought before.
Yes.
Oh, my God.
That's the seed.
God.
The seed is the thought.
That's the seed. Okay? But if you on the other side, what is his name? Ayaldaboas. He missing a few things. That's why they think that the man came first, to think the man is masculine and not a feminine principle, because they don't understand what has been kept from us in terms of knowledge. That's a bad piece right there.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh my God.
And CM Bay took you to it too. He said read. He only took you to. He said read John in Revelations, but John in Revelations only points to the fact that the dragon is waiting to devour your child that's being born, but that she had a child at these times that could not be devoured. She had a son, it says it, a boy child, male child, that could not be devoured because she finally has gotten to that point where she's having children with knowledge, all right? And they can't devour it.
Right.
That's why you point to that.
Totally, it eradicates the second creation story in Genesis.
Yes, ma'am.
It annihilates it.
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I did something else. I play around with some things because I got that poet and that conceptualization thing going on like clockwork over here. If you look at Barbelo, okay, look at Barbelo, go all the way down when it talks about the logos and when the logos was created, the masculine ions. Its counterpart or consort in that lower level under Barbelo is actually eternal life. So those two things go together. Logos and eternal life, they're mated. So if they gave us a false Christ, then they would have to tell us that we had to do certain things to obtain eternal life because they gave us a false word. Okay?
That's right.
So if you go back up to Barbelo and look at Barbelo, let me tell you how they played with us, if you don't mind me doing this. I'm so excited. I'm sorry. Barbelo, they killed us with a word. They killed us with the logos, the word. The word was Barbelo. Our letters are symbols before their words and sentences. Because, as Taj says, our ancestors put the energy into the letter, the symbolism.
That's
right. So what did they do? They took out the R in Barbelo and the O. The O was representative of 360 degrees of knowledge, and the R they took out was Ra. It was the reign. It was the rule. That was given to Ayaldabaoth. So now what happens, what you have left is,
It's Yaldabaoth or Yaldabaoth with a T or a Z, but I just call him Yaldi, so I don't have to say the name. I say Yaldi.
Okay. So basically, if they took out the R, or the Barbelo, and they took out the O, the only letters you have left is Babel. That's where your Tower of Babel is. Because with the proper knowledge, there was nothing we couldn't do.
Exactly. And all that people are chasing after, and all their religious disciplines or whatever, is this great light, which is truth. That's why it's omnipotent. That's why you can't see. That's why you can't talk to it. That's why it's immeasurable. However, and it never speaks, and all that, right? However, the image of it, which is the first thought, I say Barbelo, whatever like that. I know who you're talking about. Is the image is the woman from her, and that's why she's still here now trying to fix it, because she has to come down, which is that Star David sign with the point down, and try to fix all of that you already have obviously read that's going on the earth plane to save the light, the truth.
Yes.
That's why she cannot go back home, and there is no rest for the mother. And I meant to say that to the other sister that was calling down her husband. There will be no rest for the weary, as they say, because this is the mission, to uplift the fallen humanity. And that's her job. That's what she's doing. And it is all this stuff to try to derail you from it because you don't want it to happen.
Right. And then let me show you one more. His name, I call him Ayaldabaoth because that's what I'm looking at. But it said Ayaldabaoth Yahweh. we know that Yahweh is the tetragrammaton. We know that the tetragrammaton is nothing more than Metatron's cube when you start doing sacred geometry. So they had to take the 360 degrees of knowledge, so you would know about your astrological chart, your birth chart, the cycles of the planet, back to your lunar cycle, the proper distance of time, distance, and space.
I hear you.
And so then when you say implant, yes, ma'am.
No, go ahead. I said imprint. Go ahead.
Imprint, that's where I was going. Okay?
All right.
So then the imprint, what the imprint is that Ayaldabaoth Yahweh was made or created without Sophia's counterpart. So therefore, that evil energy, that false reign, that jealous God is the one that's imprinting it on our children through false religion.
Yes.
A false light.
When they go to the churches or read the Bible, they say, yes, my God is a jealous God. They're talking about this son that was established. They don't even know it because it's God. Common sense. If God is the all, the omnipotent, the everything, what the heck would they have to be jealous of? So, yes, if I could just get you to thinking is what it is. But I want to say this only because of time, and there's 3 other callers. I like what you're saying, and what we need to do is have a true study group, something just studying that right there, the Book of John, because Bey has led you to it. It's really one of the books that they did not put in, but that doesn't in the Bible, but that don't mean anything because that was established for the Christian decree government and the Christianity. You know what I mean? We need to go back to the mindsets of our ancestors and actually understand these things from the womb of life. You know what I'm saying? So I don't want to cut you off. I like what you're saying, but we're going to have to, we're going to have to get back to, because we only have a few.
You guys have my number. I'm down for that study right there because I'm getting ready to break that down as soon as I get back home.
Yes. You're the one. What's your appellation again?
Najwa Veronique Howell. I'm the truck driver out here.
The truck driver, right? All right.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. I remember your voice, and I just wrote you down. Got your number. We'll get together on that for real.
Okay. Get me on that one. I'm down with that one. That one's ready to go.
Absolutely. For real.
Love.
All right.
All right now.
All right.
Love.
All right. So I did 215 already, I think. Yes.
251?
I did that. 251. Well, let's try it. There we go. 251-580. You're live on the air.
No, this is me again, family.
I thought so. I apologize. All right, thank you. And 323, and then we have one more after that. So 323-507. You're live on the air.
Peace and love. How are you?
Fine. And you?
I'm doing great. This is MHHS, calling from Northwestern Medicine. I had a question about the planets. The 7 days of the week.
Uh-huh.
And correct me if I'm wrong. It's supposed to be Monday is the moon day, Tuesday is Mars, Wednesday is Jupiter, and then Thursday, I believe, was Mercury. Friday was
Wednesday is Mercury, and Thursday is
Wednesday is okay, and then Friday is Venus, and then Saturday is Saturn, right?
Yes, and Sunday is the sun.
So my question is, what about the other planets? Like, what's going on? Why are they not in that 7? Like,
I can answer
Uranus,
that for
Pluto.
I can answer that for you very quickly. Uranus, Pluto, and Neptune are the outer planets of the 10. All right, but they are. Uranus is likened to the spark or energy or electricity. Let's liken it to the semen that sparks. Pluto is filled with water, so that's the womb. Neptune is where the spirits are. So the marriage or the relationship between what is created on a higher level rests in Neptune, and wherever Neptune is in your chart, that's where you have the unseen stuff and your inspirations from that. So when those 3, that's the triune principle, the true 3 triune principle, and birthed out the 7 planets, the most influential guiding planet or influential planets on this earth. On this earth is those 7 planets or heavenly bodies, because the moon is involved. All right? And that's the veil that was established to determine your fate and your destiny based on how well you navigate through the energies that they put on you as you enter into this particular system from Saturn, where you come through, because you just said Uranus, Pluto, Neptune, right? Then it's Saturn, the rings or reigns of Saturn. You come through when you get here, and you got to go back through them when you leave. So those 7 planets are the most influential for the Earth.
Okay.
And that's what you got to navigate through. All right?
All right. Thank you very much. I cleared that up real short and simple.
All right. Peace and love.
All right. Peace and love to you both. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Mm-hmm. Yes, ma'am. And I believe this is our last caller. 513-200. You are live on the air.
And that's Jayana.
Is that Jayana? That is Jayana.
Yeah, can you hear me?
We can hear you well, sis.
Oh, great. I had so many comments, but the time is up. I mean,
no, it's not. You got
the one that's most important to me was the sister who called about her husband. And the only reason why is because I literally just had a conversation with my big cousin about her husband. And it was similar. She felt so overwhelmed that she had to do everything, and the guy was supposed to lead, and she don't understand. She's like, dude, this marriage stuff is all fake. She was like going crazy, whatever. And so I told her, the true what you call each one's place. I'm like, well, not really technically. Maybe that's why you're getting so frustrated. Is because you're kind of giving him the responsibility that's yours. She said, so what are you saying? So I'm supposed to be just taking all that? And I said, no, not that either. And it was good. The sister called and she said, well, he's supposed to lead. And I know that he's not supposed to lead now because that's great. And that's great. That's true. You know that part. And like you said, Rosh, you're not supposed to be like, well, I'm the leader, this and that. But you are supposed to, and I think I heard you say instruct or direct, give them directions to where they go. Now it's a little bit different when they're grown sons, because when they're younger in the womb, you kind of are. When they're younger and toddlers and children, as mother, we direct and give our children the directions and instructions that we want them to go. Now when they're older, you still do that, but you do that in a different way. And so I think that with the wife and the husband thing is that, yes, you are supposed to lead in the house. The household is your household. You got your family in it. That's what you're supposed to. But that doesn't mean that you have to be stressed out, and that doesn't mean that you have to carry all the weight on your shoulder. And that's where once you find your place as who's who and what everybody's supposed to do in the household, it gets easier. And so you have to tell them what you want them to do. A lot of times we are here, we are in household with our mates, and we're not saying what we want them to do. And so, and it's not in me, it's just you have to tell them what you want to do. So it's not that he's just not helping you. A lot of times we don't tell them what we expect them to do, something that you never even spoke. And a lot of times, when I spoke to her, she's like, you're right. I didn't tell him. I just assumed he's supposed to know. I mean, he's supposed to be the man of the house. He should know this. He should know that I want his help, and it's just like, honestly, he may not. He may think you got it all, because the way we are, the way we show, we some strong women. We look like we got it going on. In reality, we don't. And, I mean, not like that, but, we will. The way we do things that we handle and we can take on, it looks wonderful. It looks amazing. We like Superwoman. But at the same time, we want help. And so we have to start speaking out and saying what we want them to do so that the load can be easier and the household can be more balanced and everybody can take their chores and their duties to do that. And so with that, I'd say with the sister, and I told my cousin the same thing, read the the Holy Circle 7 Quran is marriage instruction for man and wife from the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. And one of my favorite parts is where he said that she presided in the house and there is peace. She commanded and the judgment and is obeyed. She arises in the morning. She considers her affairs and she appoints everyone their proper business. That means she's telling everybody, hey, I need you to do this today. I need this to be done today. And I need that. And this is what I'm going to be doing today, okay? And so we don't do that because we automatically assume that they know what you want them to do, and they don't. They don't know.
And they
half
don't.
the time they don't. They can't read your mind. You have to tell them. And so and because I love this Sister Spears, she said, oh, my God, I feel so bad. I got to apologize to my man. And that means that she's not operating on some type of, I'm the boss, and it's love there, and it's supposed to be love there. And that's wonderful. Right. That's a great thing. But that doesn't mean that, I'm apologizing, I'm about to take on everything and continue to be miserable. No, that means that I'm apologizing because I was wrong. But, I still this is what I need for you to do. So this household can be just run a little bit more smoother. And so on 22 it says she speaks and the servants fly. She points and the thing is done, for the law of love is in their heart. And her kindness added wings to their feet. So it's not somebody trying to be all bossy. It's with love that you do all of these things. It's love that you appoint everybody their proper business in the morning and through the day. And so with that, that's what I wanted to add.
Jayana, thank you, man. That was beautiful. You just read that out of the Circle 7, explaining that. And there's another thing you said that, and from what you just read, it hit me. If that is not applied in the home, and then we're going to have problems, which we have. And you also said that when they're young, they get older, you do this in a different way. But here's the thing. If you didn't do it in the right way from the foundation, then, and if they don't have the relook or respect of the mother, from the home, you can't tell them anything in the when they get older because they didn't respect. You didn't bring it when they were younger. You understand what I'm saying? So now they don't. Right, they're not going to listen. In fact, they're going to, try to divorce themselves from whatever you say because you didn't do it right in the first place. And this is something that is ultra important because now they don't want to listen to nothing you got to say at all, not even in a different manner in which you would say it in a more adult way. So,
then it was another question that I wanted to ask, but I'm not going to ask the question because there's a lot of sons on the line, and I really agree with that. I think we should have a study group, and I would love it to be just a sister mother thing, because it is some issues that we have as mothers and sisters, and I'll just say that because some people are like, well, I don't have a children or whatever, but that I think we really need to talk about. And I think that we need to be more real about it. But it's go ahead.
No, I was going to say, you're right. And I just hit me, and I don't want to say it until I go check again, but I think there is some sisters that are doing that. And they had invited us to come on to their platform. And, if it's right in line with all of this, maybe we could just let the other sisters know and go from there. But we'll check on that and see if they're doing that still and whatever like that, because it is what needs to be done. Sisters have to be talking with sisters. It doesn't mean that that the sons can't. It's just that everything that she does, he's gonna benefit from it anyway.
Oh yeah, it's not like a bad. Oh, we keeping something away from. It's just only. It's only a good. It's only a good to uplift that. But some things we have to talk with each other to get ourselves together, and it's something that it's just. Just for instance, giving birth. I mean, it's not like he can really put his 2 cents in. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying. So I'm saying that it's just something that is not it's not like an exclusion. It's just only a betterment of the nation itself. But we have to start with the womb, and so in order to start with the womb,
that's where it starts.
So that's how, exactly. So, and the womb is the mother. So we have to. We just it's just topics to me that I think that just exclusively exclusively should be for the sister. But it is a question that I do want to ask, and I would like a special call after the show. It don't have to be today, but it's just really on my brain, and it's just I don't feel comfortable saying it on this platform. But I really
all right. We'll call you afterwards then. Thank you for your input, because there is just one more caller. They're going to have about 3 minutes for whatever they want to say.
Okay, let them go. Thank you so much.
But we'll call you afterwards.
All right.
All right, Pete. And so the last caller is 954-868. You're live on the air.
Islam?
Islam.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, sister, peace and love to you all. I am always grateful to hear a show when I can catch it. I just want to touch on the topic that you were saying with, first off, my name is Sandra L. I'm calling from northwestern Exum, Morocco, near the territory of Florida, South Florida. You touched on the whole imprinting thing. There was a brother or son that came online, and I have a funny story with a sister of mine who recently just gave birth, and her daughter is about one now, and her daughter looks a lot like a son who is not the father, but she dealt with this son during her pregnancy. And it's so amazing that he is not the biological father, but this child looks just like him. Like, it's amazing. So
you know how many women have gotten into trouble for that?
Exactly. Also, I'm a sister who I gave birth at home myself. I didn't go through any of the corporations or hospitals. I did it at home with my husband and my mother. And I do not have a birth certificate or Social Security for my child, who is a girl. And it gets a little hard just trying to navigate on this, where we are right now in Morocco, and dealing with these corporations not having.
Well, don't worry about it. They're getting ready to get rid of the Social Security. Did you have in your heard?
Right,
you know
exactly.
I mean? Right. So there you go. Just like, so you're good. I know what you mean by hard, because it's only because they keep asking you for those things, for their enrichment. But all that is getting ready to go away. All right? Exactly. So now what?
Exactly. So it's there, and I'm grateful for you all. I'm truly grateful, and I also would love to be part of that sisters group. So if there's any information you put up on the site or on a Tuesday class, just following up with what sisters or mothers are.
Well, I'm gonna tell you what I was saying is in specificity, because like we do this, of course, once a month.
Once a month.
What I'm saying is, what the sister brought to the table was the Book of John.
Hi, this is Maury Moreland Morrison, here to tell you Geico has more than just great savings. Much more. Geico's been around for more than 75 years, back when they were using Morse code. Sorry, that's just my sense of humor. What's more, with Geico you get 24/7 access to licensed agents on the app, online, or over the phone, so you can talk to